we've talked about Skate and the Skate franchise on the YouTube channel already, but I wanted to talk about what happened to Skate as a whole, guys. We've touched up on this a little bit in the past as to, when will we maybe see a Skate 4? Is that something that's going to happen? And there's been a lot of question marks there. So let's talk about what happened to Skate, because I think you have to look at the history in order to kind of predict what might happen in the future. So guys, Skate 4. Will it ever happen? This is written by Daniel Richardson of Game Rant. Skate was an engaging franchise that built on the success of the Tony Hawk games by increasing the difficulty of tricks as well as largely keeping to an open world format. Many have been wondering what happened to the beloved franchise and if it will ever return. Despite EA's Instagram being bombarded with Skate 4 demands, there has been little hope for fans. The answers to fans' questions about the future of the series are embedded within an understanding of what happened in the development of the franchise. Skate was released through EA in 2007 and introduced a flick-it approach to doing tricks. Essentially, the right analog stick needed to be mastered in order to do simple tricks, and many appreciated this new difficulty. So much so that the game sold far more than EA had anticipated. With the host of groundbreaking online features and recording mechanics, it's unsurprising that a lack of news about a reboot of the Skates series was one of the biggest disappointments of E3 2018. Unfortunately for the franchise, its demise was in this incredible foundation given by the first entry in the series. And so guys, look, Skate and Tony Hawk games were kind of the two games that in this genre that owned it. They just owned it completely, and I think part of it kind of reminds me a little bit of Guitar Hero and Rock Band. Those were games that were popular for a while, and then people kind of just moved on to other stuff. Skate and Tony Hawk felt like games that people were really into for a while, and then they kind of fell off. And so you kind of wonder, is that kind of very similar to Guitar Hero and Rock Band? Like, are we going to see a continuation of these franchises at some point in the future? Skate 2 built on Skate by expanding the world and introducing Hall of Meat, which was inspired by Thrasher's real-life feature. The mechanic allowed players to see what bones had been broken and the damage caused by a player's bail. This meant that difficult tricks were much more fun to fail, and it certainly added longevity to the game. The game sold well, and the franchise looked to be thriving. In fact, many of the mechanics of Skate 2 are still wanted in a new Skate game, yet this was a peak for the franchise before a steep fall, which of course would be, Skate 3, guys. And at the end of the day, like we've already said in the past many times, it really comes down to sales. Black Box lost staff because EA cut 10% of all its employees in 2008. However, the studio continued to produce Skate games. Skate 3 was released a year after Skate 2 and delivered improvements for online gameplay. Yet overall, this wasn't a huge improvement on Skate 2, and the game sold less than its predecessors, and critics noted that there weren't too many new aspects for players to get excited about. The result was a game that sold 5 million copies, which is impressive, but was not substantial enough to swerve EA's set direction. So look, guys, any normal franchise out there, 5 million copies is pretty good. That's not too bad. That's a lot of titles. And there's a lot of IPs out there, guys, by smaller developers that would absolutely kill to sell 5 million copies. But when you have success in the past and it doesn't quite reach expectations, whereas maybe EA thought to themselves, we should have sold well over 10 million copies, but only sold 5, that can, kind of sway their decision making. Obviously, we also have to think about how much it costs to make the game as well, the time, resources, and things of that nature. So you got to look at it from a couple of different perspectives, not just, that it's 5 million copies, why aren't you making more games? I do think that this is a franchise that does deserve to exist within, just the ecosystem of gaming as a whole, but we just don't know if that's something that will continue, and we don't really know EA's mindset at this point. Skate's main competitor, the Tony Hawk franchise, was rapidly losing sales, and EA felt that the future of sports games was in other extreme sports. The remaining Black Box team was set to work on Need for Speed: The Run, which was released to disappointing returns. With that, Black Box was shut down, and members of the team dispersed to other studios. Hope was rekindled when Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 was released in 2015, and many were riding the wave of skateboard game nostalgia. Yet the poor reception of the game likely reaffirmed EA's decision 5 years prior. In fact, for many, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 was one of the most disappointing games of 2015. Robomoto couldn't recapture the magic of the Neversoft Tony Hawk games, and Skate would likely find itself in the same position under a new developer. Since this point, speculation about Skate 4 has largely come from fans of the series. So look, at the end of the day, guys, I think the Tony Hawk Pro Skater series and Skate, like I said, really reminds me of Guitar Hero and Rock Band, two very popular franchises as well in their own genre. But just, it kind of got stale after a while. Not that it was really necessarily oversaturation. Guitar Hero certainly had games coming out very consistently. Same thing with Rock Band. And the cost to make Rock Band and also to buy Rock Band was really expensive as well. These games were kind of niche as well. A very niche genre. Not saying, guys, that skateboarding and things of that nature are, completely dying, because there's a lot of people, a big community that loves skateboarding, but maybe in video games, it was just kind of something that captured people's attention for a while, and they moved on to other games. It's really hard to say, but Skate 4, I think, really lies in the balance here. Like, we just don't really know if we're going to see a continuation because of not only sales, but also do the communities really want a Skate 4? That's kind of the big question, because at the end of the day, it comes down to that. And I think EA wants to see if you want a game made, guys, you got to be telling the developers that you want that game made, whatever it might be. And if enough people are building movements around it, you very well might see that they might kind of rethink about coming back to these franchises. Interest in Skate 3 peaked when it was rediscovered for its Hall of Meat mode and some of its glitches. Followed by Skate 3 servers coming back online, there was an air of anticipation for an announcement. On the back of the servers coming back online, there was a huge expectation for EA to give some details at E3. In the build-up to E3 2018, Tyler, the creator, even tweeted about Skate 4, and excitement was at an all-time high, with a mysterious trailer also adding to the anticipation. And then rumors of a new trailer being Skate 4 were dismissed, as it was revealed to be a new skating game called Session. The only news from this point on has come in the form of a trademark. Electronic Arts has renewed the Skate trademark, but this is likely a precaution in order to retain the rights to its back catalog and safeguard a franchise if skating games become popular once more. It looks as if Skate 4 won't be arriving anytime soon because of EA's lack of interest in the game or in the genre, waning audience excitement, and a defunct original studio. The franchise has been dismantled piece by piece through external and internal factors. Look, if I'm EA, if I'm not going to at least pursue this, because this is still a franchise I think that really has a lot of people that want this to come back. People want Tony Hawk to come back as well with the Tony Hawk Pro Skater games. So this is what I'm going to say. I believe EA should either give the game, to one of the other development studios, or they need to simply just sell the IP at this point. I mean, that's really at the end of the day, guys. They've got to just sell the IP, or they just got to give it to some other, development studio to work on. I mean, it kind of really comes down to that, in my personal opinion, because EA shouldn't be holding on to something that they're not really planning on using. And this is a franchise that still has a very big following. So I hope at some point either EA just decides to give the reins to another development studio, or they decide just to sell the IP on the market. That would be something I think would be really smart, and I hope that Skate 4 is in development right now, but there's no signals as to whether or not it is a game that's in development at this point. So I think at the end of the day, guys, what happened to Skate? It was just poor sales, guys. You had two games that were really great in this franchise, and then the third one didn't do as well as far as sales are concerned. Even though it was a pretty fun game, it just didn't do as well as far as sales are concerned to EA's high expectations for this franchise, and they probably moved some of those guys obviously on to Need for Speed or to Battlefield, other IPs that make them and generate them more money. But let me know what you guys think. Do you guys want to see Skate 4 at some point in the future? Are you okay with playing Session and having those first 3 Skate games? And what do you guys think really happened to Skate? Let me know in the comment section below. And for more Skate 4 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.